Hey, what's going on, guys? It's FPL Yusuf here, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys my Game Week 7 transfer plans. We're going to do a quick little run through of how we're currently getting on in Game Week 6 with one game to go. I'm going to show you guys what my thinking is for my transfer plans this week. And then obviously, we'll take a look at what my watch list is looking like for players over the next coming weeks that we should be maybe looking to sort of transition to. And of course, an early look at what my team is looking like for Game Week 7 as well. So a lot to talk about in this video. I do hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And as always, let's just jump straight into it. Okay, welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today on my YouTube channel for another video. So let's take a quick little recap of how we're currently getting on with Game Week 6. Obviously, at the time we record this video, it's currently Monday morning. So we do have one game left to play this evening, which is Everton versus West Ham. Obviously, I have Jarrod Bowen in that game, so hopefully, fingers crossed for some goals in that one. Let's take a look. So we've got 67 points currently, which gave us a massive rank increase of about 1.2 million. So we were up 2.7 at the start of the game week. We're currently up to 1.5. So really, really happy with that. Donnarumma in goal, only 2 points this week. Unfortunately, Man City did concede to Burnley. I was a little bit disappointed with that because I didn't expect that goal to come. I thought Man City was I didn't expect the sort of 4 or 5 goals, but I thought that they would lock it down defensively. But, I guess sometimes these things happen. The defense, on the other hand, did play a nice part into it. It wasn't looking like it was going to go quite well. Obviously, Romero only 2 points. Senesi got a late assist in his game, which kind of boosted him up a little bit, which allowed him to finish on 7. Then we come into Sunday's games where Arsenal, we saw Saliba was benched. Gabriel had started and lost a clean sheet after half an hour. So it wasn't looking too good. Second half, Saliba came on, got the single point, so we'll take it as an extra point is an extra point. But Gabriel, the man of the hour, 17 defcons, a goal in the last minute, 3 bonus points, a massive 13-point haul. There's something about defender hauls, like the sort of 12, 13, 14 points, that just feels so satisfying. So overall, the defense, it didn't look like it was going to start off quite well, but it finished really strong. So happy with the points that we got from there. The midfield lacking again a little bit. Tijani Ryander's only 2 points, and I am starting to wonder about him long term. Is he a reliable asset in terms of scoring points? Bruno Fernandes, how different this could have been. Ended up on -1, missed the penalty, was 1 away from DEFCON. This genuinely could have been a 10, 11 pointer, but, these things happen in FPL where sometimes it is just the finest margins. Antoine Semenyo keeping his fantastic run going, another goal for him, 7 points. And then onto the forward line, GYOKERES, only 2 points. I felt a bit unlucky for him because he actually should have had a penalty, which he won. So even if Saka had taken it, he probably would have got the assist for it. But I think he should have had a penalty, which he would have been taken anyway. Erling Haaland, obviously the man of the hour, 2 goals and assist. Well done if you triple captained him this week. I know that there was a lot of debate around, was this the right fixture? Obviously, I was wildcarding, so I couldn't. But, overall, I'm happy with that. 32 points from him. And then, obviously, we've got Jarrod Bowen to play tonight. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, because I know a lot of people will probably going to have Tarkowski in their team. So it would be a nice swing for me if, Bowen can get the goal and Everton lose the clean sheet. But overall, I'm very happy with how the game week's gone, regardless of what happens tonight. Like I said, 67 points, near enough all out. 1.5 million overall rank. Hopefully, we can start pushing towards that 1 million mark and then onwards and upwards from there. Right, so let's take a look at how my Game Week 7 transfers are lining up. Now, I think the most obvious one for me is just to roll. So I set the wild card up in Game Week 6 for the idea to roll this week. However, Spurs looked really bad. And, the goal that they conceded to Wolves just... I don't know why I backed the Spurs defense. Like, I know they had a few clean sheets at the start of the season, but the data actually suggests that they've been overperforming what their clean sheet should be. So obviously, I bought Romero in on the wild card. I am looking at potentially transferring him out, and the way and the route that I'm looking at is 100% a Crystal Palace defender. You've got a choice of all 3 of them: Chris Richards, Mark Gahey, and Maxence Lacroix. I think all of them are just fine options. And obviously, with Romero's price, I can afford to get to all of them. I think I'd probably end up moving to Chris Richards just to save myself a little bit of money. He's very good for DEFCON, but so is Lacroix, so is Gahey. Really, in an ideal world, you kind of want all 3. But Palace look like they're going to be a real problem this year for a lot of teams. And I think that they will end up keeping a lot of clean sheets. And even if they don't, like I said, these 3 in particular are so good for DEFCON. It just makes them definitely worth their price. I think the only thing is, obviously, Tottenham are going to play Leeds this week. Now, on paper, that's a great fixture, but I think Leeds are showing that they've got a little bit more about themselves than maybe what a lot of people thought at the start of the season. So I am sort of contemplating whether or not I use my free transfer to take him out and play a Crystal Palace defender who's, I believe they're playing Nottingham Forest at home. So on paper, you'd actually probably back Crystal Palace to keep a clean sheet in that game more so than maybe Spurs going away to Leeds. So that is another sort of thought in my mind at the moment, is moving Romero to a Crystal Palace defender. And the last potential transfer that I make is moving Joachim Andersen out. Now, I don't think I'm going to do this one. If I do, it again will probably be to a Crystal Palace defender. I am looking at sort of Dan Burn from Newcastle as well. I'm going to talk about him next in my watch list. But Joachim Andersen, the reason why I don't really want to start him is because he's playing against Bournemouth on the Friday night fixture. So he's playing against Senesi and Semenyo. Now, I do expect Bournemouth to score. They are at home, which means that obviously Andersen will be reliant on DEFCONs. Whereas I'm looking at somebody else like Moises Caicedo on my team who, I probably want to start, and I'm going to cover that in the last section of this video when I talk about what my team's looking at for Game Week 7. But I think that, I don't really want to play Joachim Andersen this week, but I don't also know whether it's the right move to move him out, because I think, from Game Week 10 onwards, he's going to be a really, really good asset to hold, because Fulham's fixture's got a few nice runs for I think it's about 3-4 weeks. So yeah, he's definitely someone that I'm contemplating, but I think if I was going to make a transfer this week, he's probably going to be pushed more towards Romero coming out rather than Andersen. Right, so let's take a look at some of my longer term targets, and this is sort of like a watch list, sort of like an idea with transfers to come in the next few weeks. So we'll start with the defense first. I think the Crystal Palace defenders, as I've just mentioned there, any one of them three is a fantastic option. They are all very, very good on price. I do actually start at some point in the season seeing myself double up on them. I'm not sure when that will be, but they are just so good. And the thing is, they're very good for minutes. None of them are getting substitute off. They're all good for DEFCON. They also do have a little bit of attacking threat as well. Maybe more Mark Gahey and Lacroix than Chris Richards. But I think, at the prices that they're at, I think they're all viable options. And they're players that I'm definitely going to be looking to transition to over the next few weeks. Dan Burn is another one that I just spoke about previously. Newcastle, held on against Arsenal right up until the death. Dan Burn was very good. Nick Pope was very good in goal. I think Newcastle's defence is going very much under the radar this season. They are second for XGC conceded this season, only behind the team that they lost to yesterday, which was Arsenal. So Arsenal first, Newcastle second. If Newcastle are in those sort of ranks of Arsenal, then they've got a good defence. So Dan Burn, I think he's 5 million now, so he's still not bad priced. But yeah, I think Dan Burn's somebody that I'm going to be watching out for over the next few weeks. And finally, just a little bit more of a differential, maybe a little bit more of a cheaper option. I'm actually looking at the Sunderland defenders in Mukiele and Alderate. So Sunderland have, I think, surprised a lot of people. They are actually looking very, very good. But these two in particular, one, they're 4 million, but two, they are absolute DEFCON beasts. They just rack them up every single game. They obviously do have a little bit of attacking threat, as we saw from the weekend just gone. Alderete with getting on the attacking side of things for Sunderland. I probably wouldn't expect that every week, but for the DEFCON and the odd chance of a clean sheet, I really do like him. And I think if you're looking for a sort of a budget enabler, just someone to bench and bring in for odd games, maybe you've got bench boost coming up and you want to save it for a good fixture, there's a lot worse options you could go for than these two. So that is my watch list for the defenders. The midfielders, I've got another few options. Ismail Assar, just straight back from injury, getting himself a goal on his return back. I think Crystal Palace, they were already creating chances even without him there. And I think that was a big thing for Palace, and especially Mateta in particular, who we're going to talk about in a second, is without Ismail Assar there, how do they create for him? Because obviously they lost Eze in the summer. Sarr was the other one, and now they lost him. But he's back now. 6.4 million, 6.5 million, I think, somewhere around that price. I think he's very, very good value. And I think at some stage when we look to switch, if you've got Iliman Ndiaye, I've got Caicedo, Elliot Anderson, if you're looking to switch out from them, I think he's a very, very good option. And I think, as we've seen from Crystal Palace this year, is that no matter who they're playing, they can always be a threat. I think they're on an 18-game unbeaten run right now, so they really are looking good form. And I do like Ismail Assar at the price he's at. Two wingers up next, Minte and Doku. Now, I put these two together because they kind of fall under the same bracket. They've both been very, very good at the start of the season. And I always feel with players like this that they have a high ceiling. The problem is the consistency. 1 minute they're playing, next minute you'll see them get a sub after like 57 minutes. It's just, they are incredibly frustrating because they are both of them are so good for both their clubs. Now, it's worth me saying that Minte played 90 minutes. Doku actually got 90 minutes in the last game as well. So I think the minutes are definitely improving for them. But with their teams, with Hertzler and Pep Guardiola, there's always an opportunity for rotation. And I think for as good as they are and as good as their ceiling is, I don't know if they're good enough to actually nail down as a starter in your team, but you also wouldn't want to bench them either because you're going to end up having points on your bench for a lot of the week. So I really do like them. If you're looking for a differential, you're looking to gamble, 100%. I think that both of them could make viable cases, but I just would be err on the side of caution around their minutes because I think that is the only thing that's sort of holding me back from really looking at them as big transfer targets. And again, another two set of midfielders, but this time the defensive midfielders. I've gone for Gravenberch and for Xhaka. Now, I think it's worth me saying for Gravenberch in particular, he's getting a lot of attacking returns at the moment. I don't expect that to continue. I think the reason why he's doing it is because the likes of Gakpo, Wirtz, Isak, Salah, they're not firing at the moment. So somebody else has to be the creative one. And I think right now it is Gravenberch, but I would err on the side of caution of bringing him in because I don't necessarily think he's going to carry on doing that. Will he get DEFCONs? Some games, yes, but I think his ceiling is fairly low. Whereas Granit Xhaka, on the other hand, he's a lot cheaper than I say a lot cheaper. He's not that much cheaper, but he's on set pieces for Sunderland. You know he's going to play 90 minutes. You know he's going to get DEFCON most games as well because Sunderland will, have less of the ball than Liverpool will. So I do like both of them. If you are looking again for differentials, I think both of them could serve a purpose and serve a job, especially if you still got your bench boost coming in the next coming weeks as well. So yeah, I do like them both. Like I said, I would err on the side of caution with Gravenberch's attacking returns. Don't get too caught up in that hype because it probably won't continue. And then Xhaka is just a fine option at his price point. Now onto the forwards, Jean-Philippe Mateta. Like I said about Ismaila Sarr, I think he's just a better option now because one, he's on penalties, but two, he'll have that extra creative side with Ismaila Sarr next to him. So I think he's a fantastic option. I think he's just a fine hold until sort of game 19, to be honest with you. Palace again, on paper, you would look at their fixture and think, maybe not. But honestly, Mateta could have walked out that Liverpool game with a hat-trick. Like, he was so good. He missed a one-on-one. He hit the post from, 30 yards out. Like, honestly, that could have been a massive haul. And against a team which I think a lot of us probably wouldn't have been expecting it from. So, yeah, Mateta, definitely a viable option. If you're looking to transition away from the likes of a Chris Wood, I think that he's a nice price point just to jump to. Baltamada for Newcastle scoring against Arsenal. I think he'll actually do all right. I think my biggest problem with him is once Johan Wissa comes back, what happens? Because he's getting early subs at the moment as it is. So he's not really getting a chance to play on. But I do like him. I think, Newcastle, they've had a bit of a tricky start in terms of fixtures. So I think, as time goes on, he'll settle into the league more. Hopefully he'll get his fitness back up. And I do think he'll be a good asset at his price. My only concern is, and my only caveat with that is, like I said, when Wissa comes back from injury, how does that affect him? So that maybe you'd probably want to wait and see for, which I don't think is actually too far away. Remember, we've got international break coming up after game week 7, so that'll be another 2 weeks. So we'll have to wait and see with that one. But I do like him at his price point. And finally, two strikers from two newly promoted sides who I didn't think we'd actually be talking about. One is Dominic Calvert-Lewin and the other is Isidore from Sunderland. So we'll start with Dominic Calvert-Lewin first. He looks like a man changed under this lead system. Like, he looks like so revitalized, so energized. It just looks like a completely different player to the shadow of himself that he was at Everton. So I do think if you are looking for a cheap striker, you're maybe looking to enable budget, or maybe you've got a plan later down the line to go with a Salah and Haaland draft. I do like him. He is obviously playing. He's actually scoring goals as well. And he looks very much a part of what Leeds are trying to do. So, yeah, if you are looking to free up a little bit of money, he's definitely an option. Isidore is another option, which I think is slightly going under the radar. He's had the second most shots, only behind Erling Haaland over the last 3 weeks, 10 inside the box as well. So he's getting very good quality chances. And I think it's only a matter of time before, one of them falls. Now, obviously, like I said, if you are looking for a bench boost and you're looking to sort of free up money, I think either of them is a fantastic option. Obviously, they do play each other at some point. So I think that's probably when a lot of people will probably be looking to play the bench boost, the ones who still have it. So yeah, I think that there are definitely some cheap options there that we could be looking at this season to free up money for the likes of a Salah. Maybe you're looking to go to a Palmer, a Saka, whatever the case may be. But I think these £5 million strikers definitely offer and hold good value in them. Right, so let's take a look at what my team is currently looking like at the start of the week for game week 7. So Donnarumma is in goal. He's off to Brentford away. I don't think this is going to be an easy game. I am hoping for a clean sheet, but I'm not going to talk too much on that. He's fine. Like I said, on wildcard, I bought him in. He's just going to stay there till game week 19 at the bare minimum until I get my second wildcard. So he's just going to be there every week. Double up on the Arsenal defence, Gabriel and Saliba. I think after, unfortunately, Mosquera made the mistake against Newcastle, I think that would just show Arteta that Gabriel and Saliba have to be together. They are just so good. Obviously, Saliba come in the second half. They didn't concede. And I just think that them two, over the next course of the few sort of 5-6 game weeks ahead, will probably end up racking 3 or 4 clean sheets. So yeah, double up on the Arsenal defence. Senesi's on the Friday night against Fulham. I don't usually like having players play in the Friday night game, but it's a great game for them on paper. It's once again 6 games, 6 DEFCONs achieved for him. He's just fantastic at it. So yeah, I think he's a fine hold regardless of what the game is. Romero, this is the one that may be there, may not be there come the deadline. Leads away, I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Spurs, and I could theoretically see them conceding. So we might actually move him out for the likes of Crystal Palace defender, for a Newcastle man. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But for the time being, it will be a back 4 for me. Then we come on to the 4 in midfield. Bruno Fernandes against Sunderland. I am hoping he's gonna turn his fortunes around and end up getting, hitting at least the DEFCON, at least at the bare minimum the DEFCON. But hopefully, fingers crossed, he can get on the attacking returns. Tijani Reinders, like I said, is somebody that I am keeping an eye on because he seems to have these games where he'll get a 10-pointer, but then he'll go 3 or 4 without getting anything. Now, I know over the course of the season, it's probably going to add up and roughly be around the same as, other midfielders around his price point. But for me, it's a little bit frustrating sometimes just to see the constant 2s. So I'm going to keep an eye on him. Brentford is a great game that he, Man City should dominate the ball and he should create chances for Erling Haaland, but we'll have to wait and see on that. And then, of course, Antoine Semenyo is going to be in there. Friday night fixture as well against Fulham. He's just on such a wonderful run of form at the moment. So if you haven't got him and you're thinking, he's returned again, he's not going to do it, don't buy into that mindset. Just go and get him now. Doesn't matter if he's returned in the previous 4 or 5 games, however many it's been. There's still another 4 or 5 games ahead that he could theoretically return in. So if you haven't got Semenyo, Go and get him now. I think pound for pound, for me, he's probably the best midfielder in the game right now. And the last midfielder I've got is Caicedo. Now, this position is a toss-up between either Anderson or Caicedo. The reason why I've gone for Caicedo is he'll get 2 points for playing. He'll probably get his 2 points for bonus for DEFCON, which will be 4 points. Anderson will probably do the same, but I think there's a higher chance of Anderson conceding 2 goals against Bournemouth at home than, Caicedo getting a yellow card or something like that to take a minus away. So right now I've got Caicedo. If I do make a transfer, then maybe I swap that around. But for now, Caicedo will be in there. And then, of course, the 2 up front, Erling Haaland is currently on my captaincy armband. Just in the most insane run of form. I don't think you can back against him right now. Victor GYOKERES is at home to West Ham. Now, this is the run that I'm hoping for GYOKERES. This is why I brought him in. I brought him in for like sort of 5-6 game weeks, from game week 7 all the way to like 12. He is here now. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can see, up and running again at the Emirates, goals, attacking returns, and hopefully we can just find his best form, over these next 5 weeks, whilst a lot of people haven't actually jumped on him yet. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I'll be back tomorrow with an updated FPL challenge video. We'll go over what my team was like in Game Week 6, how they got on, but also we'll look at the Game Week 7 challenge. Wednesday will be a bust team video. Again, the team did all right this week, actually. It was around the 60-point mark, I think. So we'll go over that. We'll look at the changes that we're going to make for that. And then, of course, Thursday, I will be uploading my final team selection and key questions ready for a Friday deadline as well. So I hope you guys do enjoy this content that's coming at you. Stay tuned for it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.